Okay, the next thing we're going to discuss, I've got Judy here with me, is how to back up. Before we get into backing up, I think it's important to mention that there are 3 basic ways that you can move to control your opponent along when you're distancing. One is, Judy, if you'll set up, is you can control your opponent by one, stepping away from them and keeping the distance open. A runner will do this quite frequently. They'll also entrap you. For example, if she's a quality fighter or just wants me, if I move away from her, she may want to move with me, or she may want to follow me around a little bit trying to get to me. And if I just take a step and catch her in between steps, boom, I can catch her real quick. And you can do the same thing. Now, you can also, if I sit right out here and ask her to throw a roundhouse kick, what I'm going to do is trade sides real quick with Judy. And if she kicks my arm here, that's cool. Go ahead and kick. I'm trying to stay away from the stuff. She go ahead and kick. Okay. Now, I'm not doing anything. The worst thing you can do is stand still. So if I want to cut that kick up, I can do what I just did. Go ahead and kick again. I can move. Real simple. Or I can move forward and crowd her out of her technique like this. Go. Now that kick was nullified just by stepping into it. Also, and we like to use that clock we started, and I'll just simply turn and clock into those kicks real fast. And you can move left and right. So as she starts that kick, go. I can slide straight across her real fast and then come in here and do some damage. So what we're going to do real fast is if a person is forced to back up, if you're in a room or a ring or whatever, and you have to back up, you're under fire, you're under stress, it's getting a little heavy on you, and you're trying to cover. When you first start out in the middle of a room, you want your weight centered, straight up and down. You got to have your weight centered. Now, as you start backing up, you want that weight to shift over the lead leg a little bit. And then you want to start, when your leg shifts, you'll start, go ahead and relax a second. What happens is, and you start shifting your weight forward. I start out here centered up. As I'm going backwards, I'll start leaning forward a little bit. That frees up this back leg for movement. And as I move back further and further, and I get close to that wall, my foot, I don't ever have to take my eyes off my opponent, can go, oop, wall. Now it's time to make a decision. From here, you're either going to have to pivot out, boom, or just run out of the way, but don't sit on that wall and get back on your heels and let your chin up in the air. This is a death certificate. You're going to end up in a lot of trouble here, trouble you don't want to be in. And if you don't want to make that decision to move out of the way, your next decision is to get shoulder to shoulder and eyeball to eyeball and prepare to brace, leaning and take the impact. Now, when that impact comes, by leaning over the front leg, you've got room to absorb some of that impact. You maybe 2 or 3 feet, you can sit in here and just take up some of that impact. So that's what we're going to look at real fast. And we'll look at how to cut off some of that movement. Okay, so if Judy's out here, and she's going to back up. When I start moving, all I want you to do, Judy, is just back up a little bit. We're in here, and we put a little stress. That weight comes forward, and the back leg shoots out. When she hits the wall, just pivot. Good. See, now I slide in and sets her up for counter shots. Good. Excellent. Or she can just run out of the way. We're right here. She starts backing up. The weight comes forward. The weight comes forward, and she's gone. Go. Good. All right. Sometimes it's better to take off like that. All right, so real simple. When you're backing up, you do that. Now, I'm going to switch trade jobs with Judy and let you know some do's and don'ts of the game. If somebody's coming after me, whether they got gloves on or not, break Dale. Just take a rest where you are, and I'm going to use Dale. He's a little bit bigger. Let's say a guy's coming in here, and he was trying to bore us. I'm going further and further back. Come on in, Dale. And here, what people will try to do is get their head below your head. See, there's only one reason for his head to be there, and that's to headbutt me and cause me pain. The best way to get around this head right here is if you got gloves on, fine. If you don't, grab them, put your hands on the back of their neck when you hit this wall, you're backing up, and just push them straight to the floor. All right, that's what we're doing. We're sitting in here, he's coming after me, and I'm moving, and his head here, push him to the floor. All right? And that's what you want to do. So if you got somebody rushing you like that, one of your first alternatives, I want to get out, he's coming after me, I'm in here like this, I want to get on here and just shove him down. That gives me a lot of opportunity to either run or set him up and strike. Also, real quick, you heard me say brace position. We're coming in here. Now what I want to do is, like, for example, I want to go shoulder to shoulder with him. What that does is get my head outside of his body. If I want to move this person, you can be the size of Judy, and right down the back of this arm it says, I have a way out of here. All you got to do, you can take a couple of fingers and take that guy when he's pushing in on me, just shove him, and he's gone. Push him out of the way. So this is going to give you a couple of escape routes while you're inside. Okay, thanks, Dale. So all we're doing real quick, what you guys are going to do, you're going to set up a little drill. Somebody's going to be in here hitting and punching and pushing. And right here, she wants to go shoulder to shoulder. So you get eye to eye with me. And all she's got to do is she's got her head outside, get there and push. Now, if I only halfway go, she can put her hand on my butt and push me the rest of the way out. All you do when you do that is you get here, you twist, turn them out, and you go and push them. Guys, when you get down below the hips, they're going to go. And that's exactly the way you want to do it. So if she's coming after me, she's after me, her head goes down. When that head goes down, you push them down. Or you get in here and get in a brace position. So even if you get hit, you got some stuff to ride with. Or you take and shove them and then push them right out of the way. So that gives you room to maneuver. If you're in a street fight, you might want to turn them out. Come back in. You might want to come in here when that head goes down, and you might want to put some front headlocks on them. Or you might want to take them and turn them out and get into their face and their eyes, or get down here in their back and their legs. There's a lot of things you can do from this particular position. All right? That's backing up. Real simple. All you do is just remember that your weight when you're fighting stays centered, just like we discussed in the beginning. That's the importance of basics. As you start backing up, you start letting that weight go and letting that weight go. And that back foot says, oops, it's time to get out of here. Bam, and you move on out.
Hey, Jimbo here with another tip for you. This has to do with understanding just how far you will go to protect yourself and your loved ones. Many guys overestimate their willingness to fight back. The reality is usually much different. For example, I worked with one Special Forces soldier, a guy who saw a lot of action and endured years of bloody combat. What he said to me was this, quote, "Many men cannot fathom the idea that somebody actually wants to kill them. They just can't get their head around it. So when confronted by a real killer, a truly evil person willing and able to kill without hesitation, when that horrible reality sinks in, they often just freeze up and then die." Point is, there's a certain warrior's mindset that you must tap into when facing down a potentially deadly threat. It means you are willing to either escape and fight another day or step up and fight with deadly force, with deadly intentions, if there's no other choice. As my street fighting friend Paul Vunex once said to me, quote, "You've got to demonstrate a complete disregard for your opponent's well-being." So here's what I did. I got a few U.S. Special Forces soldiers to show you how to tap into this warrior's mindset, along with some lethal hand-to-hand fight moves. Deadly moves that kill in an instant if you're ever confronted by a deadly threat. But here's the thing. These moves are very ugly and very brutal moves, so much so that I am not allowed to show them to you here on this platform. If I did, they would shut down my channel for sure. However, if you think you can take it, I am now willing to show them to you for free. Just get to the link in the description. This is pretty gory stuff, but when your life is on the line, you'll be damn glad you learned these simple moves. Like I said, you can see them for free through the link in the description. Okay, let's move on to your next tip.
Here at Fightfast, we're about to let you in on 3 combat tips, 3 simple ways to win a street fight. We've been teaching regular guys simplified self-defense for almost 35 years now, so there's a lot of proven research behind what you're about to discover. First of all, it is important to know who you're dealing with, because not all attackers are created equal. In general, there are 3 different kinds of people you'll face in a confrontation. It's critical that you know this, because specific personal combat techniques are often less important than knowing who you're fighting and mindset techniques that will trigger you to act without hesitation. Number 1 is the bully. This is a guy who's interested in dominating you, usually for social status. In other words, he wants you and everyone around him to know who's in charge, and it's him. And he will use physical violence to make his point. That's the bully. Number 2 is the emotionally unhinged. This is the guy who loses his mind when you cut him off in traffic or accidentally step on his toes in some manner. He's a hothead who's ready and willing to go off on you. The good news is that, in most cases, he's not a very smart fighter because he's so emotional. The other good news is that simply staying cool and acknowledging his right to be angry can often de-escalate the situation, but not always. So you got to be ready to fight. That's the emotionally unhinged. Number 3 is the predator. This is the guy most people think about when they imagine getting into a fight. He wants your wallet, he wants your car, he wants your girlfriend, whatever. You've got something he wants, and he's gonna get it. The good news about the predator is that one of his primary motivations is to get what he wants without being caught or hurt. So he's looking for an easy target who won't fight back. If he suspects his chosen target will fight, and that there's a good chance he'll be injured, killed, or captured, he will most likely flee. So again, it's important to know what kind of thug is confronting you. But what can you do when confronted with aggression from any one of these three personality types? Let's get into it. Number 1, you can just walk away or run. This isn't always possible, and we'll cover other options in just a bit. But this is how smart and confident men operate. Because if you can simply walk away from a fight, that's your best choice. Over the years, Fightfast has dealt with hundreds of the world's most dangerous fighters. MMA fighters, Delta Force combat vets, Green Berets, Russian Spetsnaz badasses, Israeli commandos, and a lot more. To a man, every one of them agrees that if you can just walk away or escape, that's what you should do. Because even the most experienced, best-trained fighters in the world know how unpredictable combat can be. Your opponent could have a knife, or a gun, or pepper spray, or any one of numerous other surprises up his sleeve. You could end up in the hospital, or dead, or your opponent could end up dead. And unless he was brandishing a knife or pointing a gun or shooting at you, you're likely going to serve some serious prison time. Best case scenario, you'll almost certainly sit in a jail cell until the courts can sort it out. So there's a lot that can go wrong. Simply saying, "Hey man, I don't want any trouble," and leaving the scene is about as good as it's going to get. He may taunt you and call you names. Let that roll off your back. Be strong and confident. Know that simply walking away when you can is acting in your own best interest. This works particularly well against the emotionally unhinged. Of course, if you're a police officer or a firefighter or a military combat leader with a subordinate making threats, that's another story. Walking or running away will destroy your authority and put your leadership and therefore other lives in jeopardy. In that case, you must fight, but that is a subject we address in another video. For now, in a typical street confrontation, the bully and the predator are less likely to allow you to simply leave, especially if you appear frightened. Because if they're convinced you're an easy target who won't fight back, it will actually encourage them to attack, as they believe they can do with impunity. Don't allow him to believe that. The key is to look cool, calm, and confident, even though you may actually not be. Walk away if you can. Run if necessary. But what if you can't? You've got your wife with you, or your kids. What if your opponent is a clear and present threat, and escaping is not an option? This brings us to number 2. If he moves toward you but is still outside your sphere of influence, this should trigger an immediate reaction from you. Let's back up a second. Your sphere of influence is essentially anything outside of your reach. In this case, let's say your opponent is 15 feet away and approaching you. Maintaining distance is critical. Watch a few real street fight videos. It's shocking how many guys will allow a threatening opponent inside their sphere of influence, or within arm's reach, including arguing face-to-face at just a few inches. This is a big mistake, so before they enter your personal sphere of influence, without hesitation shout a strong and confident warning commanding him to stay back, be forceful. Something as simple as, "I'm warning you, stay back, do not come any closer." Think about how cops or military leaders bark verbal commands. It's called command presence. Do that. You're not making blustering threats. This is not a bluff. You're letting him know that without a doubt any further action on his part will not be in his best interest. This simple statement draws an unmistakable line in the sand. You're clearly announcing that you will regard any continued movement toward you as an imminent threat. A loud verbal warning often deters any one of your 3 types of opponents. The bully, the emotionally unhinged, and the predator will all recognize that you're serious about defending yourself. It will force them to think twice, and if he continues toward you, he's made his decision. He knows that, you know that, and it should trigger an immediate fight or flight response from you. That's the power of giving him a warning statement. It provides you with a tripwire. It allows you to make a decision without hesitation. Understand that one of your biggest enemies in a confrontation is not your opponent, but hesitation. Men will often allow an opponent to get too close, mainly because they don't know what to do. They're confused. They're wondering why this is happening to them. They're unsure about starting a fight or harming their opponent. In short, they freeze. This is very common, even among trained martial artists. The sinking reality of inevitable violence can be mind-bending. That's why understanding the mental game is one of the most important factors to winning a street fight. It's actually more important than fancy martial arts techniques, which are rarely effective in a real-world street fight anyway. It's almost always the street-smart person who acts without hesitation who wins. One vital key to winning this mind game is to lock down action triggers. Know what will prompt you to fight or escape beforehand, and you will avoid the kind of paralyzing runaway internal dialogue that causes you to hesitate or freeze. You don't want to be struggling to work this out in the middle of a confrontation. The secret is to establish what actions on his part will trigger you to act without hesitation, without any additional thinking. In other words, in the months or years before any fight, you've already established that, for example, someone who ignores your warning to stay back will trigger you to act automatically without hesitation. No need to think about it any further. You're locked and loaded. The rules are set. Establishing this mindset will provide you with a sense of confidence, knowing that you've got a plan and that you'll stick to it if and when it ever hits the fan. Okay, so let's say he's ignored your warning to stay back and continues toward you. That brings us to number 3. If he closes the distance and gets within kicking range of you, you'd better get ready. There are a lot of things you can do at this point. Remember, your opponent could be armed, so running is always an option. Again, if escaping isn't an option, then Fightfast has produced hundreds of videos showing you thousands of hand-to-hand combat techniques. Here's a simple one. Take a step back to maintain distance and put your hands in an upward position. The body language of this hands up may look like a surrender, which is what you want him to think, but it's actually a very strong defensive move that can block incoming shots while putting you in a ready position for throwing strikes. So get your hands up while simultaneously stepping back with your strong side, usually your right leg, to maintain distance and load your body for a sudden spring back. Strike first with a body blow to the chest or upper diaphragm, or a hard slap to his ear with a cupped hand. You can then do a quick follow-up by grabbing the back of his neck and pulling his face down into the crown of your head. Keep going until the threat is over. These are devastating moves, but remember, he's already proven himself a threat by ignoring your warning. Any witnesses should be able to confirm that you were telling him to stay back. Just remember that an actual street fight is about your mindset and your willingness to defend yourself and your loved ones without hesitation. Set some of your own triggers now, just in case it hits the fan in your future. If you're interested in discovering some simple and truly nasty moves, there's a link in the description for our Lethal Fight Enders video. It's free. If you like this, please like and subscribe.
Thanks for watching our video lessons here at TRS Direct. Hit the like button down below and consider subscribing to our channel here on YouTube. Hit the bell icon and we'll send you a notification when there's a new lesson available. Thanks again for watching.